Is it the strength of my spine? Or this beauty of mine? It's time to shine my light, glowing, shining bright. Nothing can stop me now. I'm standing in my power.
Greetings and welcome back to my channel, Spine Shine Goddess. What's up, y'all? If you are a spine shiner, welcome back. Those of you who have been following or you've been a spine shiner for a while, you know my journey has taken some twists and turns, and now I am teaching full-time. You see the title, Are Personal Accomplishments Upstaging Parental Involvement? I'm going to first start with a poem by Alice Walker titled Women. They were women then, my mama's generation. Husky of voice, stout of step, with fists as well as hands. How they battered down doors and ironed starched white shirts. How they led armies, head-ragged generals across minefields, booby-trapped ditches to discover books, desks, a place for us. How they knew what we must know without knowing a page of it themselves.
Greatness can be undone. The start we've just begun.
Women. In this poem, she talks about the balance of sisters who at the same time were ironing shirts in the ditches, head-rag generals, leading armies, doing things that they knew needed to be done, the hard labor of it all. They didn't have the education, but they knew all of what they wanted us to know without themselves knowing a word of it. They knew what we must know, what we must know, what we must, how they knew what we must know without knowing a page of it themselves. We know so much shit right now. We are some of the most educated. We are some of the most exposed. We are some of the most well-traveled. We have businesses. We are branding. We are manifesting. We are doing so many things that those women knew that we must know. They didn't know a page of it themselves, but they were making a way because they knew what was coming. And they wanted to prepare us, and they were doing whatever they had to do to make that happen. Generally speaking, historically speaking, that these pathways were set. The purpose of them doing it was for those following behind them, those starting on their shoulders. Is that still the purpose? Is the purpose for all of what we do? Is it about children? Are we taking what we are learning, using it to think ahead for the next generation? Are we applying what we're learning, thinking ahead in terms of what our children will need to survive? Are we connecting those two? Or is it just personal accomplishments? Is it just money? We hear a lot about legacy, creating wealth. Will they know how to be custodians of the wealth if we're not involving them in our learning, or if we're not involving them in whatever the business is, whatever we're doing? If they're not involved, if we're not involving ourselves in their lives and they're not involved in our lives, if we're not blending this thing together in terms of preparing for this legacy, are we really building blocks of a legacy, or is it really selfish? Is it all about this thing of, it's about me now? It's just about me. I have to get mine. I have to do it for me. Are we become so consumed with our profiles and who we are on social platforms, and who we are to our peers, and who we are to our colleagues and our coworkers, or to our exes, or to our current baes and boos? Who's the baddest? Who's the most boss? Who's the most popular? Have we become so consumed by the profiles and the following and the branding and the businesses, whatever ladders we're climbing? Have the babies gotten lost somewhere and left behind? Education says leave no child behind. Are parents leaving their own children behind? Because we know education is set up for another reason. So we know parents are first educators. So this isn't to blame parents. As an educator with no children, as an educator who definitely understands her role as far as helping and assisting and being a villager, I don't have to be a parent to know that a parent is the first teacher. So it isn't to blame, but it is to acknowledge that parents are first teachers. But as the first teacher of children, of your own child, first priority is not leaving that child behind. That's a slogan for education, no child left behind. But are we leaving as parents who are parents? Are parents leaving their children behind by the consumption of what it means to be popular, the consumption to have a following, the consumption to be this branding, this ambassador, this leading lady of sorts in her career or whatever she's doing? And motherhood has somehow gotten put on the back burner. Not talking about traditional roles of what it means to be a mother. Simply, have we stopped doing what generationally in the past was done to set us up to be where we are? Someone set that up with intent. That's why we're currently able to do the things that we do. Those barriers we're breaking, those ceilings, those, positions that we're now taking, that we have the education and the connection and the ability to step in position, they are on the backs of someone. The question is, what backs are we bending and breaking for the children? Are we exposing them on a daily to the things that we know that they will eventually need? Or are they just out here? We're just getting it in terms of wealth, in terms of possessions, and saying that we're building wealth. We're making it comfortable for them to be okay. But is that simply a means of justifying not giving the time? Is that a way of saying, well, I'm out here getting it, making it happen so that I can provide and do for you so that you don't have to work as hard? Is that an excuse for not putting in the time, or an excuse for saying you just have to understand that, I'm surviving. I don't have the time to do this because I'm too busy trying to make it happen, because I'm doing it by myself or whatever reason. I'm not going to get into the father situation. This is only about women, as titled in the poem. Not to blame game, not to excuse brothers. It's just too much to deal with all that. Whether the father is there or not, there's still a baby. There's still a child to raise. So regardless of the position or the lack of involvement of a father, we know that should be, and we know that, that probably would make things easier, maybe. But it's not the topic of this discussion. I have questions because, quite honestly, you all, I really feel like something's brewing. Some days I feel like we're in trouble. And if I were to just give you a glimpse into the daily observation of our girls, it's really scary. Really scary. Or I say to myself, perhaps they have been born at a time that they are being prepped for something that we have no clue about and we won't be equipped to deal with. And this is why they are here, and this is why the path is where it is for them. This is why they are who they are. This is why they were born in the generation that they were born in, so that they can handle what is about to come, because possibly we won't be able to. That is my light of hope that I keep. But it's challenging because on a daily, I see so much when it comes to girl culture that is totally foreign, honestly. The aunties and the mothers are now the competitors of the young ladies and daughters, not all. And because we get into these who look younger, who can do it best, and dance competitions and body competitions, and who's looking young, who's sexy, who could do this, in terms of competition among younger women and older women, that energy is there as well, where it's not seen as a young looking auntie or mother. It's competition. This is a battle. This is a competitor, not a woman who I can aspire to become, or someone I can learn from, or someone I can trust, or someone that I can model myself after, or ask for advice, or show vulnerability, or even submit in any way, because she is competition. She's not a surrogate mother. She's not an auntie. That energy is there due to some of the stuff that we see, again, on these challenges and on these social platforms that pit us against each other, even as mother-daughter and just older and younger women, period. This video is about us reassessing why we do what we do. It's not knocking anybody from going to get whatever they need to get to feel empowered and improve their family, financial situation, and do what they need to feel good about themselves. Because obviously, if you feel good about yourself and you feel empowered, yes, that can organically, on some levels, affect how your children perceive you, or how you impact them. But nothing takes the place of time. Without all of the papers and diplomas and exposure and education and traveling and, you still got time that's irreplaceable. It's the time and it's the involvement in their talents, their interests. It's getting to know who they are. It's being able to balance that. Yes, you have what your personal goals are, but if you all, or if we're going to question as a society why young people are getting younger and younger, why the criminals are becoming younger and younger, hey, just step into school. Go anywhere where you see young people who are alone. These babies who are, stealing cars and committing crimes and robbing and home invasions. Y'all, come on, they're middle school. They middle school and ninth grade. I mean, they're literally babies. For other parents, we say it's harsh to blame parents, and some children just go astray or have the ability to go astray regardless of how effective a parent is. But I'm sorry, y'all. If you don't know where your damn child is and your child is 11, 10, 12, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's not a teenager with a job, going someplace with a car. You're not even an adult, technically, in terms of your brain being fully developed, even in your 20s. But regardless, we know babies are babies. There is no way at all that a child should just be out freelancing and roaming and at 12 midnight, early morning hours, 6, 7, 8 deep in a car, still in car. Like, who do they belong to? Who are these children? And if you are, I'm talking to the parent, and let me be very clear, because I said our personal accomplishments upstaging parental involvement. If a parent has an addiction or a problem, that's a dysfunctional parent. They're going to be challenged. Yes. We already know that that's a whole nother situation. I'm not talking to those parents. They need help. They need someone to assist. Yes, they are not hands-on. They got their own shit going on. It doesn't excuse them. I'm just saying that we know that that's going to be a challenge. We know that that parent has a challenge on their hands. I'm talking to you sisters with all this shit y'all got going on. You got all this education. You got all of these papers and goals and vision boards. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to those of you who've gotten all of what you know in these ivory towers, and you have these positions of what are you doing, because you're supposed to know better. You know what's coming down the line. You know that you're going to have to do something to prepare prepare your children, because you are currently in a situation where you're having to do things to get ahead, to get noticed, to, do whatever you're doing in your business or in your career. You are well aware of that. Are you balancing the energy that you take to self-discover and reinvent and self-help and all of the things that involve you? Or are you also doing those things for your children? Have the children been put on the back burner, and the whole notion of legacy building is being used as a way of saying, yes, I'm doing it because I'm making this money. Yes, I'm doing it because I'm going to own these properties. Yes, I'm doing it because my child is going to inherit this business. How will they run it? How will they know? How will they be prepared if they're not involved? How do you even know what they want to do? And how do their talents and skill sets and interests connect with what you're building? Are you building something that they'll even have an interest in, or will they resent you for it because there was no involvement, no way that you tap into what it was that they wanted to do, or tap into something that they're currently doing or what their interests are, so that you can connect it back to what you're doing? Because I'm telling y'all, it's crazy. It is crazy.
It's time to, it's time to, it's time to, it's time to, it's time to.
And I'm telling you, it's a challenge because it's so different. In the sense of respect, it's different in the sense of like some of the things I just told you. There's this culture of debate just because of where we are in social media. Everything is always a debate. Comments being made. Everybody's entitled to their comments. Everybody's entitled to their feelings. Everybody's entitled to say what they want to say. Even online, you have all the ages mixed up. You don't know who's who, so you can just say what you want to say. There's profanity being used. There's no protocol, no type of, respect, if you will, except for self, except for entitlement. Everybody's feeling entitled. Everybody has their own platforms. Everybody has their own opinion. They can say what they want, and either you can respect it or not, regardless of age. That's the same thing that's happening in the schools. Can you imagine teaching in a class now where those who are way younger than you feel entitled, very entitled, to their opinions, no matter how they state them? No matter how rude it comes across, no matter how disrespectful, you're constantly having to coach and teach on just tone. Because even the 30-year-olds have admitted, many of them are deaf tone to that. That's something old school in terms of just attitude. Like attitude is not even character. It used to be where we taught character, where that was a monthly thing. You taught character. That was an expectation. Now that's considered something old school. Doesn't have to be. You can do it with an attitude. You can do it with disrespect. That's overlooked. That's considered old school.
It's time to, it's time to, it's time to, it's time to.
If we're not even talking about character building, the soft skills that we claim are needed in the real world, then it means nothing for young people to go out and steal, invade a home, rob, hit an elder upside the head. That there's no emotion connected to that. There's no character building. It's all fun. It's all entitlement. It's all everybody doing what they need to do to feel good, regardless of how it makes anybody else feel. How it affects the whole. We're not teaching the whole, the community. It's all based on how you feel personally. And if you are elder or an older person, you need to get out your feelings because that's just where it is. Well, if that's where it is, if that's where we are, I'm saying to you personally, those of you with children who have children that you know are running around here wild and crazy and doing shit that they shouldn't be doing, and yet everybody else is to blame, you're going to find it very difficult or hard for those of us who have always had a soft spot for other people's kids, and for those of us who would literally die trying to help you save your own. I'm telling you, for one, we're not going to be there. We're not going to continue to be there. How can you? How can you justify continuing to be in position of being a villager, a surrogate mother, a mentor? Meanwhile, you are branding, building, breaking all of these power positions or leading in these. You're the leading role. You got the leading role in everything except parental involvement. That's a problem. That's if this is you. I'm talking specifically to those who know they are not balancing the energy that they put into their weight loss, the energy that they put into their hair, their eyelash. I don't care what it is. All the energy that we are putting into looking good, feeling good, making money, living well, if it ain't matching parental involvement, there's a problem. We got a problem, and somebody need to tell y'all. You can try and comfort me and say, you ain't got no kids. You're damn right. I don't. Because if I did, I damn sure wouldn't have the energy to be doing what I'm doing now. That's part of the reason why so many teachers are stressed. Because they have their own children, and it's triggering for them to deal with the kids at school and then have to come home to theirs. So fortunately, I don't have any. So I have all the energy and all the time to put in to your child, because I don't have any of my own. So this is one time that you should be able to say, you know what? I appreciate you not having your own, but still talking your shit before you come for me. I'm telling you, teaching is a passion. Never knew I would still love it so much. And when I tell you, it is the most challenging. It's not shocking totally, but I am a little... I could do a whole nother video on the girls, y'all. I can't even entertain it right now. I can't, especially with this being about, black women and goddesses. We will have to have something. I don't know. I can't get into the girl conversation right now. I don't know. But getting back to women, Alice Walker, her poem specifically, all these things that women did, her mama's generation, stout in step, with fists as well as hands, battering down doors and ironing starched white shirts, leading armies, head rag generals across minefields, booby trap ditches, all sorts of barriers set in the way, to discover books and desks a place for us, how they knew what we must know without knowing a page of it themselves. Didn't have the education, went through all of those things to get us to the education. Are we doing the same thing for our children? Or is it about our education? Is it about what we now are able to get and eyes on us, all attention on us? Are we too busy competing with other people rather than seeing what's missing in our children and focusing on their education so that they can get what we know they will definitely have to have? Are we bending over backwards so that they can stand on our shoulders? Or is it all about our travels, our degrees, our wealth, and calling it building a legacy for them when we don't even know what their interests are? That's my question. That's what I want us to think about. I want you to think about that. I'm talking to those of you who know better, because you're doing better. You're doing better. But what are your children doing? That's a problem. That's a problem. This has been Spine Shine Goddess. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Thank you for being patient and sticking by me, regardless of how long it's taking to get these out. But I'm telling you all, it's going to be difficult, because I actually do take my job pretty seriously as a teacher. And if that means that Spine Shine Goddess has to suffer a little bit in terms of the time, then it's just, that's what it is. Children, they are a priority. As much as I love doing videos and I love building my channel, I'm going to try my best to balance it. But my priority is definitely right now. I'm learning a lot, and I feel very good to be back in a space as challenging as it is. Don't get me wrong, it is challenging, y'all. It's challenging. But I know that it's happening for a reason. So I appreciate your patience. This has been Spine Shine Goddess. And as always, be peace. But if you have to be war, you be that too. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification so that you know when I'm uploading my next video. Because as it stands, it will definitely be sporadic for the next couple of months. Thank you for joining. Peace.
God is right.